Welcome to Vsb News Online for Monday, February the 23rd. I'm Charles Webb. Finance Minister Bob Richards came under pressure at this morning's chamber budget breakfast from leaders of the private sector, fed up with being taxed to pay what was termed the beast. In other words, the bloated Bermuda civil service. Mr. Richards explained the difficulties of kicking government workers to the curb.
We don't want to engage in policies that will result in mass layoffs from the government. This is not the United States where you can lay off a bunch of people and the bunch of people can go to the next city, the next state, that sort of thing. I think I said this last year at this breakfast, that if the government laid off a bunch of people on Friday, and Pat and I come to work on Monday, we were looking at the same people. The same people. They're not going anywhere. So while in theory, you could say, well, you know, we just need to sort of engage in a slash and burn type strategy. I don't believe that that is appropriate for Bermuda. It's certainly not appropriate in my view, and it is not practical either. We have to find a way, and as I think as the SAGE Commission rightfully called it, you have to find the appropriate glide path to get ourselves out of this situation.
Lawyer Kim White, a member of the SAGE Commission, gave government some kudos for making a number of important changes, but he couldn't see why the private sector had to fund a civil service that was far too large and expensive. It worked out, he said, that it took the taxes of 5 people to fund one civil servant.
The layoffs that community have suffered, the loss of jobs that the community has suffered, has been in the private sector, not the public sector. In order to feed the beast, to borrow that phrase, you've raised taxes on everybody, but the bulk of which is paid by the private sector. In a piece in the paper on Saturday, the chamber indicated in the restaurant area, there may well result, that tax increase may well result in layoffs. And wearing my hat as chairman of A.S. Cooper's, that's also true in the retail area. So the effect, the consequence, is that once again being borne by the private sector. The private sector, I think, are looking to see the pain being shared by the government sector. Frankly, in the last 2 budgets, I don't think the private sector should be satisfied that the pain is being shared equally, or even appropriately, or proportionately. The pain has fallen mostly on the private sector. That's my view. Maybe some of you will agree with it, some of you won't. But I think that we should not continue to be asked to pay to feed the beast. There has to be realistic resizing of the government. Now, how that takes place is a number of different ways, and that's for the government to determine. But we cannot keep asking us, the private sector, to bear the biggest burden of this pain.
And Nathan Kowalski, Chief Financial Officer of Anchor Investments, thought Mr. White had hit the nail on the head.
I agree with Bob's comment of not, I think you said, drop kicking people to the curb. But I wouldn't want to be accused of being draconian and saying, you know, fire 50% of everything. But I do think that there's ways that we can get tackling the cost. And whether it's in the SAGE Commission, again, there was some suggestions to start taking wage cuts on the upper half first and not touching the lower. So we're not harming the lower earning people within government, but we are making the shared sacrifice higher on the higher end for the higher paid people in government. Again, if I can get a raise, Bob, I don't know if you have any openings, but if I can get a raise by going to the government, it's not the right incentive, I think. I mean, there are posts in the government that obviously should be paid more, but I think we need to, like, again, show show this shared sacrifice in some way.
An unusual case came to Magistrates Court this morning that may throw some light on the onslaught of credit card hacking that has burst suddenly on the local banking scene and brought misery to hundreds of residents. The island-wide problem of the hacking of credit and debit cards by international criminals took a local turn today when two young men appeared in Magistrates Court to face credit card fraud charges. 20-year-old Jan Infanta Almanzak and 18-year-old student Daniel Rees Nunez, both stepsons of Bermudian husbands of women from the Dominican Republic, faced a number of unusual charges relating to 49 alleged cases of credit card and debit card fraud. It was alleged that they used a card reader to collect data off cards that had been swiped and then created new cards to enable them to obtain goods and services. This led to charges of obtaining a false instrument, carrying on a false instrument, receiving stolen goods, and making false cards. They were both bailed on $15,000 with a like surety and required to wear an electronic tracking device. The driver of the truck involved in Saturday's terrifying crash on Middle Road, Devonshire, has been arrested on suspicion of being impaired. This was just one of the accidents that kept the police busy over the weekend. The accident saw the truck collide with a motorcycle and a car near the Bermuda Squash Rackets Association and then spin out of control, striking a wall on which a number of people had been sitting seconds earlier. The driver and his passenger, who had suffered a head wound, had to be cut out of the crushed cab with the jaws of life, operated by the Bermuda Fire and Rescue Service. 3 people were taken to hospital, but none of the injuries was believed to be serious. The other serious accident took place on Friday evening on Middle Road in Warwick, where a motorcyclist lost control and collided with a car. The rider was injured and taken to hospital to be treated for leg injuries. Her passion for Bermuda is obvious, and showing visitors around her home is something that Bermuda Rose Society President Diana Antonician regards as a labor of love. During the final days of the Bermuda Homes and Roses tour, she spoke to Vsb News about the unique and authentic experience of visitors to her Jennings Land home, Fennel Heights.
I think it's been a resounding success. I've been having a lot of fun with it. We get to meet people from all over the world, and get to explain to them what's my love, roses. So I explain to them about the propagating and opening up my house, my yard. And each week we get unique questions. You know, they want to see how our water's stored, how we build our roofs, the buttery and stuff. Here we also give them a nice little treat with Bermuda banana bread. We've got the swizzle and stuff. So the Tourism Authority asked us to create an experience, and what's synonymous with love but roses. So here we get them, and they're opening up the house, they're wandering around the garden. My husband was talking to them about orchids. So the feedback that we're getting is they want to see what locals live, they want to talk with locals, and I think that's the big success. You know, they're getting one-on-one with us.
How many houses have been involved in this?
Just 2. It's myself and my vice president, Barngrove, in Devonshire. So when they leave us, they'll go to his house, and he gives them a talk about our roses, a more in-depth talk about the roses, where I'm talking about the propagating. So it's just the 2 houses. It's supposed to be an hour-and-a-half tour, but it's actually been going 3 hours. You know, when they get here, they don't want to go. And, you know, for us, you know, we're enjoying it as much as they're enjoying it.
Are there any plans to expand it next year?
That's up to the Tourism Authority, but I'd love to do it again. I've had so much fun. Well, the mural was done by my sister's godmother, Elsie Anthony, who's still alive, and she's 94, and she did these as an income for herself back in the 60s. She used to do those murals on stone and give them to tourists then. She was very well known for her painting. So she was very good friends with my parents, did the murals for my parents, and then when my husband and I took over the house, she came back as a wedding gift and did some more for us. We've had tourists we've had visitors. We had UK, we've had them from all over the United States, we've had them from Canada. So again, and they've really enjoyed coming out here because look at the weather today, you know, it gives them a chance to get away from the cold weather and stuff, and they're just enjoying it.
International Invasive Species Week is this week, and wait until you hear the number of invasive species in Bermuda. This week, Bermuda celebrates National Invasive Species Awareness Week, along with the rest of the world, And the message that accompanies the event should be enough to make every resident shudder. For a start, Bermuda has 25 of the world's 100 most invasive species on the planet, especially the Argentine ant, the Brazilian pepper tree, the rosy wolf snail, and the red-eared slider. But perhaps the most noteworthy are feral chickens, pigeons, crows, lionfish, fiddlewood, casuarina, and chiflera, to name a few. But the battle has been joined with the Department of Conservation Services in 2014, culling 7,800 chickens island-wide, bringing the total of feral chickens culled in the past 3 years to 22,500. Likewise, 845 feral pigeons were destroyed and 82 crows. When it comes to the marine world, the lionfish is by far the biggest threat and is now being considered the worst environmental disaster ever faced by the Western Atlantic region. And now we turn to Earl Basin with the latest from the sports desk.
Flora Duffy's run as an exterior winner continued when she was the 10th finisher overall at the Exterior South Africa Championships with a time of 2 hours, 45 minutes and 27 seconds. Bermuda's under-18 select team went down 4-0 to USA's under-17 national team in their final warm-up match yesterday. Meanwhile, Nicky Wells and his Huddersfield Town teammates had goalkeeper Alex Smithers to thank after holding on for a 0-0 home draw against Cardiff. Alex McDonald struck twice as Oxford crushed Reggie Lamb's Mansfield 3-0 at the Kasem Stadium on Saturday. Taking a look at local football in Premier Division action at the Wellington Oval, the top-of-the-table clash between Hamilton Parish and the Somerset Trojans ended with the Somerset Trojans winning 2-1. Donovan Thompson gave Hamilton Parish the lead, but Dion Stubble equalized for the Somerset Trojans as the two teams went to the break tied at 1-1. In injury time of the second half, Shaquille Bean converted from the penalty spot to earn Somerset Trojans the 2-1 win. In other Premier Division action, it was North Village Rams 0, St. George's Colts 0, Flanagan's Onions 1, PHC Zebras 5, Southampton Rangers 1, Devonshire Cougars 2. In the First Division at Police Field, the matchup between the Boulevard Blazers and Wolves ended with Boulevard Blazers winning 3-1. Sergio Richardson gave Wolves the lead in the 44th minute when he converted from the penalty spot. Ian Cook equalized for the Boulevard Blazers when he converted from the penalty spot in the 57th minute. Makai Young gave the Boulevard Blazers the lead in the 86th minute, and he scored again during injury time to lead Boulevard Blazers to the victory. In other First Division football action, it was Crossroads 0, Paget Lions 1, St. David's 3, Somerset Eagles 4, Young Men's Social Club 0, Devonshire Colts 3. The Bermuda Equestrian Federation hosted the first round of the FEI World Jumping Challenge categories A, B, and C at the National Equestrian Center on Visa Street yesterday. Philip Correa and Emerson won the day's A category with 4 penalty fault points after 2 rounds, while Michael Rodriguez and Southern Eclipse was second with 16 penalty fault points. Carista Rabane and Helsinki Van Hafedat won the B division category with 2 clear rounds, while Calby Lusher and Skyfall were eliminated. Dale Rochester riding Carolina Gull won the C division category with 4 penalty fault points, while Vicky Steele and All in One as well as Patrice Swan and Starstruck were eliminated. The Bermuda Bicycle Association's Flying Colors Mountain Bike Series returned to the Lagoon Park for the 7th race day of the series. In the male A class, Matthew Oliveira crossed the line first with a time of 55:13, covering 10 laps. Dave Collins completed 9 laps, finishing in second in a time of 52:29, and Shaquan Richardson finished third with a time of 56:57, completing 9 laps. In the male veteran race, Gary Rayner clocked a winning time of 40:52, completing 7 laps. Charles Schwat finished second with a time of 43:01, having completed 7 laps, while Chris Rook finished third with a time of 44:12. He also completed 7 laps. Sarah Burnett rode to victory in the female B division with a time of 43:58 after 7 laps. Ali Watlington finished second, clocking 45:37 after 7 laps, and Ashley Kirkpatrick finished third with a time of 43:49, completing 6 laps. The Bermuda Optimist Dinghy Association held 2 days of trials for the IODA South American Championships in the Great Sound. The IODA South American Championships will take place in Peru in April, with the top 5 sailors qualifying to attend. Day 2 started out with approximately 5 to 7 knots out of the east, which promptly died after the first race and the 6th of the series. The day's only race was won by Adam Larson, with Tate Stefanuk finishing in second and Joe Aerosmith finishing in third. Going into the day, Stefanuk was leading, followed by Aerosmith, Micah Thomas, Larson, and Jordan Emedi. At the end of the event, the 5 sailors advancing were Stefanuk, Aerosmith, Larson, Thomas, and Campbell Patton. The Bermuda Amateur Swimming Association held the second best of the best swim meet at the Bassa Pool on Saturday. Jesse Washington won the men's 15 and over 50-meter backstroke touching the wall in a personal best time of 28:05. Tyler Smith finished second, clocking a personal best time of 31:46, and Britton Mosley finished in third with a personal best time of 34:75. Emma Harvey won the girls 13 to 14 100-meter butterfly with a time of 106.80. Ashley Irby finished second in a time of 112.59, and Maya Yates finished third in a time of 133.80. The women's 15 and over 50-meter breaststroke was won by Shannon Hassel with a personal best time of 40.12. Lauren Durley finished second in a time of 43.35, while Joshua Thorne finished first in the boys' 13 to 14 50-meter breaststroke, clocking a time of 47.28. Turning to netball, the North Village Lady Rams defeated the Young Men's Social Club Baby Bluebirds 10-7 in under 12 division action. The Warriors defeated the Nets Greens 32-13. In under 16 division play, the North Village Lady Rams defeated the Sidewalk Nets 27-20. The Young Men's Social Club Bluebirds Juniors defeated the Data Tech Nets 16-14. The Young Men's Social Club Bluebird Youngins edged PHC 12-11. In senior league play, the Young Men's Social Club Lady Bluebirds defeated the Young Men's Social Club Blazing Bluebirds 49-44. The Sidewalk Nets won 56-35 over the North Village Lady Rams. The WWC Pink Panthers defeated the Young Men's Social Club Bluebirds 42-36, and Data Tech for Tees defeated the Bermuda College 58-9. 4 more athletes reached the qualifying standard for the 2015 Carifta Games during the Bermuda National Athletic Association 2-day track meet at the National Sports Center, which was hosted by Cigna and the Flyers. 3 athletes qualified in the same race. During the under-18 boys 800-meter race, Micaiah Robinson, David Darrell, and Aaron Jacobs all met the qualifying standards. Robinson won the race in a time of 2 minutes, .35. Darrell finished second in a time of 2:01.41, and Jacobs finished in third in a time of 2:02.07. The other athlete to qualify was Azir Smith, as she leaped 1.55 meters during the under-18 girls high jump. I'm Earl Baston reporting for VSB Sports.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed the weekend's weather, but looking at the weather for Tuesday, February the 24th, it will be cloudy, early showers, decreasing rain and showers overnight. Winds will be northwesterly, moderate to strong, soon veering northeasterly, decreasing moderate late morning, veering easterly in the evening, increasing southerly and moderate to strong overnight. We are expecting a high near 70 and a low near 61. This weather forecast is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Well, thank you for watching Vsb News Online for Monday, February the 23rd. I'm Charles Webb.